I actually know.
Okay.
Some of it's. Welcome to the March 14th business meeting, and please join me in a Pledge of Allegiance. First, I'm supposed to do the roll. We'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our county administrator, please take the roll. Gary Schmidt.
Yes, Commissioners, first, our staff support today, Stephen Madcore, County Counsel, Mary Rathke, Clerk to the Board. Roll call, Commissioner Humberston.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Here.
Chair Bernard.
Here.
And Commissioner Fisher is walking to the dais right now. She was in Salem for some legislative business this morning, but made it just in time. So I'll let her have a chance to sit down, and then I'll say, Commissioner Fisher, are you present?
Here.
Wonderful.
Wow. Chair Bernard, if I may be asked to be excused for a little while, I have someone in the offices I need to talk to about economic development regarding the Sunrise, so if I could, thank you.
See you. All right, well, first up is citizen communication. And we have Rob Brinkman and Claire, is it? Clock. Okay. Got 3 minutes, and just tell us where you're from.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Rob, you were up first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was called first.
Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Rob Brinkman. I'm a citizen of Clackamas County. I preside in Milwaukee, Oregon. First off, I want to let you know that I'm in no way affiliated with a gun lobby or a gun group. The reason I am here today is to talk about the proposal in adopting the Second Amendment Sanctuary Preservation Ordinance. In February of 2015, Clackamas County agreed to and signed a Second Amendment Sanctuary Resolution showing good faith to the citizens of Clackamas County that they shall have the right to bear arms for in the Oregon's and the United States Constitution. In the signing of the resolution, Clackamas County states that they strongly support the right of the people to keep and bear arms as stated by the United States Constitution, whereas state and federal lawmakers continue to propose measures aimed at restricting all firearms, ammunition, including bans, taxation, extensive waiting periods, registration, licensing, and even confiscation. Under Oregon's new proposed anti-gun laws that are about to be passed in the Oregon legislature, these proposed gun laws would make Oregon gun laws the strictest in the United States. For example, under Senate Bill 501, it limits the gun owner to 20 rounds per month, and a background is required at every purchase. It's a ban on gun magazines that hold more than 5 rounds. Ban on guns that hold more than 5 rounds, such as a revolver, a semi-automatic pistol, and some rifles as common as the Ruger 1022 rifle that is used for target practice. There are approximately 16 combined House and Senate bills and proposals to legislation. These are so restrictive that they violate the Second Amendment and that at the very least are an infringement on our Second Amendment. In Clackamas County alone, there are approximately 408,000 citizens, and from that amount, it is estimated that there are 100,000 families in the county. Research has shown that there are approximately 8 guns per family, which equals 817,000 guns alone in Clackamas County. Under proposed legislative gun bills, this will render most of these guns illegal. These proposed gun laws will put a very large financial drain on the county's resources and local law enforcement. So under the Second Amendment Sanctuary Preservation Ordinance, it refers to jurisdictions in that county that have adopted resolutions to not enforce certain gun control measures perceived as a violation of the Second Amendment. As a law-abiding citizen of Oregon for over 40 years, I have seen and continue to see my Second Amendment rights being slowly stripped away. It's like a death of 1,000 cuts. I have seen gun laws presented and passed so many times that they still seem to have no effect other than another law which burdens the gun owner. Thank you.
Chair Bernard, members of the commission, Claire Clock, Clackamas Conservation District. And I'm here today to a little bit of a report card for different types of things. A little bit of a concern that both the commission and the Conservation District has had is wakeboards on the Willamette River. There's been a bill that's introduced, 2352, that I testified as far as erosion on the river, and also during that time I gave consultation to one of the landowners as far as ability to stabilize their banks with something other than Himalaya blackberry. So there are ways to do that. That necessarily wouldn't cure the wakeboard problem, but at least it does help with some of the landowners. The other thing is I was a little bit dismayed by the fact that when I was at a LCDC meeting earlier this year, that Clackamas County has a dubious distinction of having the largest non-farm dwellings sited on farmland in the state. I don't know what the reason for that was, but with our Working Lands Committee and the Conservation District, we advocate for protection of both working farms and forest, and I think that's really a counter to that particular goal. Third thing, infill. There's I noticed that on the agenda today, lots of subdivision decisions and things like that. One of the things that's happened in the metro area is the construction of larger buildings, 2, 3, 4-story, or I should say more like 4 or 5-story buildings that help with infill. There's things in the bills in the legislature to help with multiple or infill in urban areas. We really appreciate that, or I really appreciate that for the protection of farmland. But one of the things that goes along with that is the need for infrastructure to make sure that those infill doesn't create problems such as parking, other types of water, schools, and that type of thing. One of the things that's of concern that is just recently is the bill, I believe it's 3221, that would ban clear cutting and spraying, other types of forest practices on county and on drinking water. Watersheds in the entire state, which includes basically the western part of the Cascades. It's a major concern. Maybe your forestry department would be familiar with this, but that's something that's a heads up for the commission. And lastly, a really nice thing is the Molalla River Scenic Rivers Act. There's a celebration on Tuesday the 19th over in Molalla, and we have a board meeting, so I'm not going to be able to go, but just wanted to say that it's good for both wildlife and recreation in the community. So thank you. Any
Thanks. I have a
questions?
question. The non-farm building, do you know what it is, or is it,
No, well, non-farm dwellings.
houses?
Yeah, houses. And I was really surprised. And it's like, I mean, Clackamas County is like a magnitude above all the rest of the places. And I didn't go and see, I didn't see what that was, what the origin of that was, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention and let you know that that's somewhat counter to or no, I think it's totally counter to our urban growth boundaries and our protection of working farms and forest.
Yeah, I wonder if they're talking about marijuana grows, but that's a farm. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and then, but this is one of the things that I said I was going to do is be more, a little bit more involved in county commissions, and it's just sort of a heads up of things that you might think of that maybe slip by you.
All right, Martha.
Yeah, Yeah, thanks, Claire, for coming in today. So tell me a little more about Tuesday, the 19th, where that celebration is.
Yeah, and I didn't look, it's in Molalla, and I don't have the date, but it's the Molalla River Watch has information on that.
Okay.
And it would, it's one of the buildings, and I didn't have time to, or I didn't remember where it was.
And I just have
It's
a,
5:30, oh, it's 5 to 7,
okay,
yeah.
thank you for that. And I just wanted to make a comment. Thank you for all that you do in conservation. I've been very quietly working with NREC and some of my contacts at OSU on a pollination initiative. I know the Xerxes Society has an opportunity. They work with cities, they work with counties, and given what we've been dealing with, I told people 30 years ago bees were important, but but now we're finding out they're really important. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully you can get involved in that
Yeah,
as well.
thank you.
Okay.
Ken?
My suspicion on the homes on EFU farmland is it's probably as a result of past land use decisions where
Measure 47.
properties were subdivided into 5 and 10 acre parcels. There's a lot of them out there, and somebody makes some pretty good money, and they go out and they buy their little 5 acre farm and they put their big house on it. And of course, they're not really doing much in the way of farming, but
Yeah.
those are old subdivisions that you can't do a heck of a lot about. My suspicion is that's where a lot of that has come from.
There's a large hole in the land use laws where you can, where there's ability to place dwellings on forest lands. That's something that needs to be looked at too, because it's like I said, it's a large hole that we could, and when we have urban forest interface, we're looking at really serious consequences as far as evacuation and protection in that area too.
All right, thank you very much. So the next item is a public hearing. There's two road transfers. So what we're going to do is after the presentation on the two, we're going to open one public hearing and we will need two motions. So we're joined by Gary.
Rick Maxwell from the Department of Transportation and Development.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Rick Maxwell. I'm with the Department of Transportation and Development. And today we have before you a resolution from the City of Lake Oswego. They request a transfer of jurisdiction from the county to the city of Kimball Court and a portion of Bonita Road. This request has been thoroughly discussed by staff of both jurisdictions. Transferring jurisdictions of these roads will result in streamlined permitting and construction standards consistent with the surrounding Lake Oswego street system. Thus improving the coordination of development, future maintenance, and public service requests. A notice for today's action was published in the Lake Oswego Review newspaper for 4 consecutive weeks. And this request is consistent with the county's policy and practice of partnering with our local jurisdictions to provide our necessary government services at the least cost to our citizens. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
Just one, Mr. Chairman. How many miles of road is this? And how much does it reduce our 40 miles of roads inside cities?
Not much.
So
Best guess.
Bonita Road's about 1/3 of a mile, and Kimball Court is probably less than 1/4 mile.
Not
So
by much then. Okay, thank you.
almost to a 1/2 mile.
Maybe. Oh, we're now at 39.5 miles. That's good.
Good. Whatever we can get done at a time, that's how it goes with the development, so.
All right, thank you. So I'll open the public hearing and ask if anyone would like to testify on the the transfer of Southwest Kimball Court, which is a county road number 2918 to the city of Lake Oswego, and the transfer of Southwest Bonita Road, county road number 929, transferred to Lake Oswego. Would anyone like to testify on that matter? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion. We'll have to do two motions, so one at a time.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the board order accepting a transfer of jurisdiction from Clackamas County to the city of Lake Oswego for Southwest Kimball Court, County Road number 2918.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve a board order accepting the transfer of jurisdiction from Clackamas County to the city of Lake Oswego for Southwest Kimball Court, County Road number 2918. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Hearing none, motion carries. Next motion would be?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the board order accepting a transfer of jurisdiction from Clackamas County to the city of Lake Oswego for a portion of Southwest Bonita Road, County Road number 929.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve a board order accepting the transfer of jurisdiction from Clackamas County to the city of Lake Oswego for portions of Southwest Bonita Road, County Road number 929. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Does that work okay? What we just did?
Perfectly fine.
Okay, great. Well, with that, we already, the board, okay, we were supposed to, no, that's all right. The next item we recess. All right, great, thank you. The next item is Clackamas County Service District number 5, and we're going to adjourn or recess as a Board of County Commissioners and convene as a Clackamas County Service District number 5 for the next 9 public hearings. I can't wait to see the Cobra lights.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. I'm Wendy Coriel, and I'm representing Clackamas County Service District Number 5. It's a district responsible for street lighting in the unincorporated areas of Clackamas County and also the city of Happy Valley. Street light is required as conditions of approval through land use, and those are done on residential, commercial, industrial, multifamily developments within the urban area of Clackamas County and the city of Happy Valley. Street lighting is also installed through the petition process, and I do have one item on the agenda today that is a petition. There are 9 service areas for your consideration today. 5 are in the unincorporated area of Clackamas County, and 4 are in the city of Happy Valley. The first 2 areas for your consideration are Area 1018, which is the Pacific Crest 39-lot subdivision, and 1818, which is Madeline Meadows 7-lot subdivision. We'll be installing Westbrook lights and poles, and this will come to rate W, $240.10 per tax lot each year. Next area for your consideration is 30-16. This is an almost 7,000 square foot office building. We'll be installing Cobra lights on fiberglass poles. This will come under rate D at $1.23 per frontage foot per tax lot each year. Next area for your consideration is 21-17. It's a 2-lot partition on 142nd Avenue. We'll have Cobra lights on fiberglass poles, and this will come under rate C at $68.72 per tax lot each year. The next 4 items are, or areas are 36-18. This is Fawn Meadows 17-lot subdivision. 58-16. This is a 2-lot partition on Mount Scott Boulevard. 12-18. That's a 2-lot partition on Minerva Road. And 60-18, which is a 2-lot partition on River Road. These will all have Cobra lights on existing wood poles, and will come under rate B at $49.01 per tax lot each year. And the last area for your consideration is 04-19. This is an 11-lot petition between the addresses of 17402 and 17458 on Southeast Boardman Court. We'll have Cobra lights on the existing wood poles. This too will come under rate B at $49.01 per tax lot each year. And this is done through the petitioning process. The petition must have the signatures of at least 51% or more of the property owners in the proposed area. And ultimately, the neighborhood petitioner got 64% of the property owners to sign the petition. Prior to scheduling this hearing today, the street lighting district notified all the property owners in the area, and there were no remonstrances received from that notice. So with that, that ends my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
So the ones like in Happy Valley, there's not even a house there, it's a development. So it's just goes with the allowing them to build something there. And it's a specific light requested by Happy Valley, and because it's significantly more expensive than my favorite Cobra lights. But all right, so I don't really have any questions. Anybody have any questions? So I'll open the public hearing to ask if anyone would like to testify on this matter. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the board orders forming the assessment areas within Clackamas County Service District Number 5 as presented today.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the board order forming the assessment area within Clackamas County Service District Number 5 as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Lindy's going to give a little.
Huh?
For the,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We wanted, you had a kind of a public service announcement.
so yes, I can provide that. Okay, this is a slide that explains how to call in if there is a light out. And I like to give this information to the public because not everybody understands the process. And if somebody notices a street light out, we ask them to call our service number, which can be found on this slide or also on our website. They can also email PGE directly because they are the ones that do the repairs for us and the maintenance. And we ask that they provide us the map and pole number, which is shown in the slide there. It's a picture there. And that is located about eye height on the pole. So that if they call in, if they can provide that information, it expedites the repair.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, we'll adjourn as the Service District Number 5 and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners for the remainder of the meeting. And ask the county clerk to please read the consent agenda by title.
I was waiting. Okay, today's consent agenda. Under elected officials, a resolution, or approval of a resolution appointing a Justices of the Peace pro tempore for the Clackamas County Justice of the Peace District, which is Justice Court. Approval of Amendment Number 2 with the State of Oregon, Agreement 148537, to add additional funds for juvenile dependency cases. Under our Department of Human Resources, approval of the labor contract between Clackamas County and AFSCME, Department of Transportation and Development, and Business and Community Services. Approval of the labor contract between Clackamas County and Clackamas County Employee Association. Approval of the labor contract between Clackamas County and the Clackamas County Employee Association Housing Authority. And approval of the labor contract between Clackamas County and Clackamas County Employee Association, part-time and temporary. Under County Administration, approval of a resolution in the matter of participation in funding activities through the Oregon Office for Community Dispute Resolution. Under Public and Government Affairs, approval of a board order for an extension of the cable television franchise with Beaver Creek Cooperative Telephone Company. Under Technology Services, approval to add 2 additional fiber connections to the intergovernmental agreement between Clackamas Broadband Exchange and North Clackamas School District. Under North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District, approval, a resolution to approve, support, and authorize boundary change restating Happy Valley as within the boundaries of North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District. And under Water Environment Services, approval of Amendment Number 1 to the agreement between Water Environment Services and Polydine, Inc. for thickening and dewatering polymer. And that concludes today's consent agenda.
Does any member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. The next is the county administrator update. Wow, we're just flying through this stuff.
I'll keep my remarks to 2 hours, Commissioners. Do you know what today is, Commissioners?
Yeah, Thursday.
Your 13th day or 15th day?
No, today is March 14th, which is Pi Day. The
Pi.
mathematical formula pi, 3.14, March 14th, 314.
3.14.
Many local restaurants and businesses are providing free slices of pie, restaurants anyway, and county employees have an opportunity to have a free slice of pie this afternoon here at the county offices, not paid for at taxpayer expense. It's this
On
afternoon.
the second floor in the lunchroom, in this building.
I believe it's 2:30 or 3 p.m. today. Yes. So celebrate National Pie Day. There is no business meeting next Thursday, March 21st, because a majority of the commission will be away at conferences which align with the county's strategic plan. So you'll be doing business next week. We will not have a business meeting next Thursday. Several good news items I'd like to share about the great things going on in county government. The accolades for the staff at the Department of Transportation and Development keep coming. Last week, an email from a Colorado-based business representative praised the work of Clackamas County Senior Planner Steve Hensheka. The email said, "Steve was extremely helpful when I submitted a land use application zoning verification letter. I have worked with many cities and counties, and I have never had an individual as helpful and responsive as Steve. Next time I have a project in Clackamas County, I know that there are helpful individuals who will make the development process easier than expected." So thank you to the author of that note. Thank you to Steve of our staff, who is demonstrating one of our county's core values, excellent service to our customers. So thank you to Steve and to Clackamas County. We indeed do our best to serve business. Next, I want to congratulate the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District, NCPRD. They recently released their annual report highlighting the project's accomplishments and efforts, serving 122,000 district residents. Highlights include the development of several new park projects that will bring more open spaces, amenities, and recreational opportunities to all district residents. Thank you to NCPRD staff for providing this exceptional service to our public. Next, Commissioners, as you know, the Health Centers Division of our Health, Housing, and Human Services Department has partnered with the Oregon Food Bank to provide a free food market on the first Tuesday of each month. This market is where those in need of food can get it for their household. The good news is that thanks to the promotion of this market, it's working. Last week, 148 families were served by the free food market. That is the most to date. So thank you to our staff who support this event and those in the community who are able to be served by this service.
Where's it located?
It's here at the Beaver Creek Clinic here on our campus.
Okay.
Tuesday, the first Tuesday of each month. And we've been promoting that through our social media channels and through our outreach efforts here at the county. Finally, dog services. Thus far this year, our talented staff in dog services have reunited 70 dogs with their owners. So we thank our staff for the great work they do in service of our four-legged friends. And I know Commissioner Hummerson will have an update there perhaps too. So thank you, Commissioners. That is my update for this week.
Great, thank you very much. Martha?
All right, well, I'm going to try and be quick, but I got an awful lot on my plate right now. So this past week, I think my colleagues and I attended the Association of Oregon Counties, where I'm serving as president, and we had a 3-hour meeting reviewing legislative priorities. It's quite a group. We try and move through quickly, but when you have a whole group of 60 commissioners in one room, it gets very interesting with because we all like to talk. We all like to talk. I think we're doing good work, but I particularly want to thank our colleagues from Multnomah County for attending. They've really been diligent. I'm glad they're there. I hope it isn't too much of a culture shock sometimes when we have our rural folks and our urban folks and the differences of opinions that we have in terms of legislative priorities. But I do think, for me, it is an exercise in diversity. actually. I think that it's extremely important that we understand that we are a diverse state in multiple areas, and rural components are as important as our urban components. The Canby Ferry Alternative Study, we just had some more information on that, and I'm hopeful that we can find a way to keep the ferry running in a feasible, accountable way where we can try and find additional dollars. I know that we used to call it the Canby, the Canby Navy, actually, when I lived there, and I used it many, many times going back to work. Pardon me? The Canby Navy? No, we did. We called it the Canby Navy. That one tickled me. My parents first came to Oregon to visit me, and they saw that ferry. They were like, "What the heck is that?" I said, "Never mind." But anyway, I do appreciate that. It seems very important to the community, and I want to compliment staff for really working very hard to try and find alternative ways to maintain that. We had our MPAC meeting last night, the coordinating committee prior to that, and we reviewed believe it or not, Commissioner Fisher knows a lot about this, the CHS report, which took a look at what the toolkits are that we may be implementing for housing in the region. It was just a quick overview. Most of the folks did not have the full report. I was able to obtain it and asked Metro staff to make sure that everybody got the most current report. That was CHS, and it was another consulting group who I really I wasn't as familiar with, but I did do some research on CHS. They have a long portfolio. They've been around for a long time, and they've been looking at housing funding and housing alternatives nationally. So that's been rather interesting for me. I will be going on a Willamette Falls Locks tour this coming weekend with with Representative Rachel Pruzak. I'm still doing work with the Chinese American Citizens Alliance, and I'll be attending their Lunar Year 4717 celebration year of the pig, and I'm involved with them through the Oregon-China Council, and we are working with the Oregon-China Council. I know that Ken is aware and involved in this as well, and pulling together a July conference bringing businesses from China to the area to talk directly with some of our local businesses here and see what comes of that. That will be a July conference. In the meantime, Tingin's People's Congress wants to send delegates to Oregon, and that may be in May. They have asked just to speak to the governor, the speaker, and the Senate president. So stay tuned with that. I believe the Oregon-China Council will be working to try and pull that together. And our conference with the Chinese delegation would be in July. And at this point, they have preliminarily kept this in Clackamas County and have looked at retaining the Abernathy Center. So in any case, with that, let me go to arts and culture activities in the county, or should I do the word first? The word first, okay. If I can find the word.
It's on the other side of that piece of paper you were just.
Yeah, probably. Well, that's okay.
All the notes.
I'll read it from the screen. There we go. What would I do without you? Be totally dazed and confused, Commissioner. Okay, scrutinize, adjective. 1, to review extremely closely. Did you know? Someone who examines an object or document in minute detail scrutinizes it. It is vital that any organization or business scrutinize each and every document to ensure they are accurate and complete. Okay. All right, let's go to arts and culture. Youth Music Project, Teen Open Mic Night, Friday, March 15th, 6 to 9 p.m., 8 to 12-year-old sign-in at 5:30. Performance, 6 p.m., teen sign-in, 6:30. Performance, 7 p.m. Meteor Lounge at Youth Music Project. Everyone is welcome to perform, no matter how long you've been making music, and all are welcome to come and cheer for these talented young musicians. Nuts and Bolts Theater Company presents The Villain of Virtue, a melodrama, Friday, March 15th at 7:30 p.m. p.m., Saturday, March 16th at 7:30, and Sunday, March 17th at 3. A comedy set in the Middle Ages, lots of audience participation. Help us boo the villain and hooray the hero in this funny play. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Lakewood. We just had an event that I helped greet people in Lake Oswego, and that was to really look at and to celebrate our 2019-2020 season. It's the 67th season. The plays are Matilda, The Rocky Horror Show, Shakespeare in Love, Wait Until Dark, and The Odd Couple. And I know hopefully Commissioner Fisher can fill us in on some of the other theater groups, but I know what Kirk's doing in the area. And next time I'll have Clackamas Repertory Theater. They've also announced their new season. So go to the theater, folks. It's the best thing you can do, and it's fun. And with the stressful jobs we have, it's very relaxing, I'd say. All right, I'm done. Thank you, guys.
I noticed you had a green screen or background. Does that have anything to do with St. Patty's Day?
Yeah, it's a couple days away, but yeah, it's St. Patrick's season.
Yeah. All right, next up is Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chair Bernard. I had the honor and privilege of testifying before the Ways and Means Committee on Human Services. The Oregon Health Authority budget was up today. As many folks may not know, most of our funding for our local mental health services comes from the federal government to the state government and to the local county. We do not contribute many dollars at all of our own local general fund dollars to these services. So our advocacy at the state and federal level is very, very critical for our safety net services. Today I share with the committee that these issues are so personally important to me. My brother Bradley in the early 90s committed suicide in Damage State Hospital. Since the early 90s, there has been tremendous efforts to look at deinstitutionalizing our most very challenged individuals and building a community system of supports. We have not done that well, as we know, through these years because we have tremendous challenges with homeless population on our streets. We have tremendous challenges with people with mental health challenges in our jails. And we have not met the mark on helping our most vulnerable. But here in Clackamas County, we are a leader in knowing what works well for individuals. We know that assertive community treatment works for people with chronic mental illness, and that's wraparound services that really bring in the medical and the social services and the supports wrapping around a person to support them in the community. We know that having a walk-in clinic like we have here in Clackamas County works so that people can come in, get immediate triage to services in the community. We know that crisis lines work so that if people are feeling really challenged in any moment, they have a number to call and they can get the support services that they need. We know that peer mentors work for people with mental health challenges, and that involves somebody that's walked the walk of being really struggled through mental health issues, lending support, guidance, a helping hand, and linkages to what services and supports are available. On the way to Salem today, I had the wonderful time of talking. Mary Rumbaugh, our behavioral health director, was also driving to Salem to testify on behalf of the behavioral health directors. And I was asking her many questions, and she just answered them so well. But the one statistic for our local community that really struck with me, with all of the incredible leadership that we've done here in Clackamas County, for people that reach out and go through our crisis center and they need immediate services, our requirement from the feds is to get someone an appointment within 2 weeks. With the lack of resources that we have here in Clackamas County, we are only able to meet 70% of the need. So that means 30% of our folks that really need to be connected with services can't get them in a timely way. So what are the solutions? Yes, funding is part of the solution. The AOC, as Commissioner Schrader mentioned, supported a lot of legislative efforts. One very important legislative effort is to increase the tobacco tax. which will provide some additional funding, which is very, very critical. We recognize that around the state, which is why we're supporting it. Also, really important is workforce. Workforce is critical. If we had all the money in the world, we still don't have the workforce able to meet the needs and the services. So we have some solutions. We have a lot of work to do. I bring this to my colleagues. This issue, when we were at the National Association of Counties, was all throughout the country. We had Commissioner Schrader participate on a panel for urban counties dealing with homelessness. In Orange County, they gave a call out across the nation. They have just entered into a settlement of a lawsuit that their homeless population brought to them because of lack of services, and their message to all the counties across the country is please get ahead of this and really look at what your most vulnerable people in your community needs. So with that, I will pass it on to Commissioner Humberston.
If that's okay with the chair.
Yes.
I looked at the list. I know you're next.
First, I'd like to touch bases on two of the issues that were already brought up. One, for those who wonder why we invest in overseas connections, such as China, just as one example, China does about $6.8 billion worth of trade with Oregon, and we have about a $2 billion trade surplus. That $6.8 billion just with China alone is worth about 30,000 jobs in Oregon. Some of those jobs, of course, are right here in Clackamas County and in our metro region. So maintaining those relationships with other countries is critical for the people who just have to work for a living in our county. To Commissioner Fisher's comments about the mental health issues and poverty in our community, I've been doing ride-alongs with the police departments of all of our cities. I've had my 6th one, and what the number one thing that all of them have had in common in talking with the officers is mental illness. That is the most difficult thing that they deal with on a daily basis in their cities, and I've had the same comments from our sheriff's department. And we're basically very poorly equipped to deal with our behavioral health issues. And those issues are based on mental health issues. They can be PTSD or schizophrenia or a variety of other illnesses that people have. Drugs and alcoholism are a contributing factor, but it is by no means what everybody is involved in. Many of these folks do have these problems irrespective of drug and alcohol use. And then the final one, of course, that it all spills down to this is domestic violence. So I'm not sure exactly what the answer is besides the money to hire more people and the facilities for them, but the bottom line is it is a critical issue in our communities, and it is a nationwide problem. I think particularly the PTSD one is serious. This is not World War II when a person maybe had 1 or maybe 2 combat assignments. This is people who now are having 5 and 6 and 7 combat assignments over the last 18 years, and that does incredible damage to people mentally, physically, and emotionally. I had an interesting experience. As many of you probably know, I keep signs on my truck that shows that I'm a county commissioner, and I do that for a reason. I want people to know who their county commissioner is, and whether or not they want to talk to us, the opportunity is there. It can be in the parking lot at Albertsons or wherever. So the other day I stopped at a stoplight and a guy stopped next to me in his truck, and it was clear that he was rather animated about the VRF. I could tell by the verbal things that I saw. So rolled down my window and said, look, I'd be happy to meet you for coffee and go over the VRF with you, exactly what's and whys and history and everything. He met me 2 days later for coffee, and he has now volunteered to serve on our Citizens Committee. So my experience is that when you sit down and you talk with people and you explain the reasons that we make some of the decisions we make, especially the ones where you're taking money out of their pocket, that you can get people to reluctantly accept the necessity of things. But it is incumbent upon us to take the time and explain it to people.
Only you would do this on the roadside.
Hey, wherever it works for people. You need to, people come here for a 3-minute conversation. That's not a real conversation. No. It's being able to sit down over a cup of coffee and really talk to people about why you can and can't do different things. And if you don't spend that time, You know, and we are different than our staff. Things, when we have those conversations, are different. On other notes, met with Dr. Plotkin from Clackamas Community College. He's interested in working on our CLT initiative and making sure that people are trained in what the college's role could be in that for very, very good paying jobs. I had my first meeting with our tourism board as the new liaison there. I want to thank them for welcoming me there. I've got a lot to learn about how tourism works, but it will be an interesting experience. Attended AOC, Association of Oregon County, serve on the Vets Committee, the Health Committee, and the Public Service Committee, the Public Safety Committee. And I want to thank my colleagues for sending a letter on behalf of the auto theft bill. I think it's 2328, seems to be moving forward. That's been a real stickler for our law enforcement community, very difficult to get convictions under a couple of current court decisions, and hopefully this law will fix that a little bit. And finally, on the best note of all, after 2 weeks, my wife came home yesterday. So it was good to have her home. And now, oh, one more thing. I would like to thank Mr. Brickman for coming here today. I understand this is your first time, so welcome. I will caution you that hearing discussions doesn't always mean agreement, but we should and always do listen. And finally, the dog.
She's cute.
This is Benny. He is looking for his new home. He's a very small guy, only weighing about 8 pounds. He's 2 years old and is still learning some manners. He's a confident and cuddly guy who won't hesitate to leap up into your lap. Any children in the house should be 9 years of age or older. If he seems like a great fit for you and your family, come meet him today. For more information about Benny or other adoptable dogs, please contact Dog Services at 503-655-8628 or www.clackamas.us/dogs. Thank you.
And Ken, I was just going to say, I'm picking up my sign today now that I have a car that doesn't have multiple dents in it. I feel more comfortable letting people know I'm driving.
There you go.
Wow, I'm so surprised.
Yeah.
I remember one conversation that Commissioner Schrader and I had when I was a new commissioner, and we were chuckling at Ken's sign on his truck. And Commissioner Schrader, as one of my mentors, said to me, you know, there are times when you just don't want people to know that you're a Clackamas County Commissioner.
It's when you're speeding or rolling through a stop sign.
Yeah, Ken's done that, all right?
The Sheriff's Department and I did have a
So have
conversation,
I,
I will admit. And I paid my dues.
That's okay, I have a ticket I have to pay, it's
deserved it.
okay.
I paid my dues.
We all do it. I don't know, Ken, you convinced me, though, I gotta have the signs, right?
I love it.
So, first off, I want to mention, you may have, if you heard the consent agenda, many union contracts have been voted on and supported by the employees here at the county. I want to say that we have great people here, and we have folks who worked really hard to resolve the union contracts. Every month we do an employee recognition, which is really valuable. If you know, and I've been suggesting, and someday it'll actually happen, a speed dating kind of thing for the community. Come around and talk to our people and find out all the great work they do. But people, you know, yesterday, or Tuesday, I think it was, we had 30 years, 20, 25, 15, 5, 10. People are here a long time, and they, and I've not heard a lot of employees complaining about the job, and certainly I haven't heard a lot of people complaining about the job they do with the citizens either. So I appreciate your work on completion of the union contracts, and I thank the various groups, AFSCME, Employee Association, for finally resolving this. So thank you very much. I wanted to also mention that the vehicle registration fee petition has been withdrawn. You know, well, Lynn Peterson told me she had been working on the vehicle registration fee for many years, and actually when I was mayor many years ago, I think probably the first meeting I ever went to in partnership with the county at Clackamas County Coordination Committee, we talked about the vehicle registration fee. Clackamas County is the only county in the metro region that had no local road funding, maintenance funding money, and now we do. And it's going to be a while before we get that money, a couple of years really, before we get any of that money, but it's important. And like Ken said, we're going to create a committee that's going to look at how we spend our money. And this money will be separate. It will not go into the general fund. It'll be used specifically for maintenance or potential capital. State law requires a 60-40 split, county 60, cities 40, and we're taking 10 of our 60, and we're investing it in cities to eventually do what we did today, and that is to turn a road over to a city. Eventually, we will get to a point where we won't have any roads in cities, and that means more and more money can be spent in our rural communities. So I'm excited that that's done. I am meeting with Mayor Hobson in the next week or so to talk about the Canby Ferry. He has some ideas, so I'll let you guys know. And with that, thank everybody for coming. Thank you for your good work, and 13th day or
Around there, yes. 3
around
weeks,
then.
yes.
Look forward to 13 more
Years or weeks?
days.
Days. Oh, thank you.
Minutes.
And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Does anybody?